Hello everyone, I'm Milton, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Bishop Iber College. I just want to share my views on a famous poem by Robert Frost. My title of today's discussion is A Journey of Choice and Consequence in the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. I hope everyone is familiar with the writer Robert Frost, who is a great eminent writer of American literature. He is a prolific and eminent American poet who is well known and well read all over the world. He is awarded 4 Pulitzer Prize for his poetry collection, which shows his creativity and the honor that people gives to him. He is known for his lucid and symbolic representation of the rural and the natural world. He is known for the way that he projects life in general, because as per Matthew Arnold concept, literature is something that reflects life. One can see a clear representation of life in all aspects in the works of the writer Robert Frost. And some of the eminent example poetic poems are shown here. The Road Not Taken, Mending Wall, Stopping by Wood on a Snowy Evening. These poems are an evidence for the way he writes and the way he is much acclaimed by the people. About the poem, it was written in the year 1915, published in his famous collection Mountain Interval in the year 1916. The background of the poem is he was inspired by the way that his friend Edward Thomas behaved and responded to a journey that they had in their past. The poem is the reflective poem, and people used to say this poem and they relate this poem with the choice of life. The structure of the poem consists of 4 stanzas and each consists of 5 lines. The rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, AAB, and one can see a reflective tone, a contemplative tone, and a sense of ambiguity in the tone of the writer. Summary of the poem. In the poem, the speaker stands at the crossroad or fork in a forest. He needs to choose 2 paths, and he chose the road less traveled by people. And the whole poem is about the choice the writer has made and his contemplation and introspection of the way that he chose the path. Let us move into the poem. The poem starts with the first stanza. 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And we one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it went in the undergrowth. In the first stanza, the 2 roads shows something called a choice. Because there is 2 roads in front of the writer, so he has to take a choice whether to choose which road, right? And the yellow wood in the first line represent a season that is called an autumn, which is a symbolic representation of change and transition. The third line, look down, I looked down as far as I could, represent a sense of seriousness the poet had in choosing the road. That means he is in a dilemma, he is so serious, and he wants to make his choice in a good way. This can be seen in the first stanza, and it is the contemplating effect of the choice of the writer. I just want to introduce a theory, and based on the theory I just want to analyze the poem. The name of the theory is Herzberg theory. Herzberg is one of the psychologists, and he is known for his theory that is called 2-factor theory. It is otherwise called as a theory of motivation. There are 2 factors that involved in. Actually, he has framed this theory for analyzing the employees and their level of satisfaction in the market, in the job market. Now I just want to apply the theory in literary text to show how it can be related in a work of Robert Frost. There are 2 factors that determines the choices. One is motivators, that is something that helps a person to get fulfillment out of his choice. The next one is the hygienic factor, which he calls as something that doesn't give that much of motivation or that much of response, but it will help them or prevent them to go in a state of distress or dissatisfaction. We are rereading the first stanza from the perspective of the Herzberg theory. I am reading it. Two roads diverging in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the underground. These are the lines. In the second line, the highlighted word is sorry. He says that he is having a sense of regret, a sense of fear. The word FOMO, fear of missing out. He wants to choose something, but he is having a kind of fear that leads to dissatisfaction in choosing. Here we can see deliberately the hygiene factor where he is not satisfied with because of the fear of missing out. He is having some kind of a dilemma in his mind whether the path will be good or how I am going to handle the path and what may come when I travel on that path. So much of things are there which shows his state in the hygiene factor. Now in the third line, slowly the writer moves to another state where we can see he is retrospecting and finding the path. He says, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the underground. He takes some time to see what is there. This shows his movement from the hygiene factor to the motivational factor because he needs to go, he needs to progress, he wants to progress, he wants to move ahead. So he comes from the state of dissatisfaction, state of fear to a state of motivation, to a state of growth which can be seen through these lines. Another stanza I have chosen for our discussion is, then took the other as just as far and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. The writer is so happy, the poet is so happy to choose the path. The reason is, there is a word that is there, it is called grassy. The word grass represents a kind of fertility, a kind of hope, a kind of a freshness, a kind of a uniqueness, a kind of a newness there. So the writer here says he chose a particular path because when he saw the path, when he sees the path, he can able to find a kind of a uniqueness, a kind of the meaningful thing that he can able to see it. Though as for that, passing there had warned them really about the same. After witnessing a kind of a grassiness, after motivated by a kind of a sense of a feeling, he moved there and now he is again in a dilemma. He says that though I saw that one as something which is good, something which is motivated, something looks unique, something looks grassy, something looks fresh, but I found both the roads are same. In our life too, sometimes we will be motivated with so many things, and while we are going in the process, there may be some obstacles, some struggles that stops us. Let's see what the writer is going to do in the poem. He wants to reflect on the choice he made. I am reading the next stanza. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to the way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Most of the time, while we make choices, we may be in a dilemma whether it works out or not. It goes on and goes on and goes on till we finish a particular work. It happens naturally. Sometimes we may be motivated in the morning, we may be motivated to read or to learn or to come up in life, but at the evening time, the same evening, you can be demotivated with so many factors that can be seen in the poetic lines, right? So he wants to go, but at the same time he had a feeling of dissatisfaction at the same level. So how he can overcome that? Let us see. He is telling, I shall be telling it with the shy, somewhere ages and agents held, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. He is in a state of regret. He is in a state of dilemma. The word shy represents the exact mood of the writer. The worn out state of the writer is mentioned there. So he said two roads diverge in a wood, but he is happy that I took the one less traveled by. And the line that makes a great impact about the poetic poem is, and that has made all the difference. The writer says, though the road is less traveled by, though I had lot of struggles and lot of pain in going on that unknown road, because it is not a road which was traveled by many, and it is not a cakewalk for me. It is, I don't know how I'm going to travel with, but the last line of the poem gives the meaning and the purpose of his walk. He says, and that has made all the difference. I just want to conclude in the poem, The Road Not Taken, one can see two factor theories here. The one is called motivation, the other one is called hygienic factors. Both are applied there. The writer, he wants to travel, so both things are happening there. One, he wants to be satisfied with, and he wants to be complacent with, and he wants to be easy with. At the same time, the urge in himself makes him to be unique, makes him to be motivated, makes him to do something to show the purpose of his life. And I just want to conclude, even though sometimes hygiene factors are good for us, but the motivating factors is really help us to attain the purpose of life. Thank you all for happy listening.